to present a proclamation from the governor's office.
Hello? Oh, we can do better than that. Hello? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everything that you have done today to make all of us aware that we have come a long way in 19 years, but we still have a lot more work left to do. We are proud of where America has come in the 19 years since that July day when the first President Bush signed the ADA Act. But we know that across our nation today, and even unfortunately in our Commonwealth, there are still children who have access issues to education and to health care. There are still men and women who are willing and able to work, who have doors shut in their face every day. And so until we get to the point where that doesn't exist, please know that myself and our entire administration will roll up our sleeves and stand beside you until Kentucky sets the bar. We want to see that. Can and should be. You know, I was really just going to come and read a proclamation, but I was standing to the side, and I'm hearing all of the references to history, and I was a history major in college, so it's right up my alley, actually. I could stay here all day. But I started looking at this glorious statue that stands in the middle of our rotunda of Abraham Lincoln. And, you know, when President Lincoln ran for president and won, he did so losing his home state of Kentucky because he stood for and saw an America that could be. And he dared to dream that. And so in an interview, he said those remarkable words that he probably didn't think were too remarkable then, but have stood the test of times. He said, "I too am a Kentuckian." And so today, as we stand in the shadow of Lincoln, today as we are in this year celebrating the bicentennial of his birth, every time you have a door slammed in your face, I want you to say loudly, "I too am a Kentuckian." I too am a Kentuckian. Every time a child is told that because of a disability he or she cannot, I want you to remind them they too are Kentuckian. Amen. Every time you go to get housing and someone makes up an excuse to not give you that God-given right, you say to them, "I too am a Kentuckian." The greatness of this state is those immortal words emblazoned on our flag that are more than just a motto. You too are a Kentuckian as I too am a Kentuckian, because united we stand and divided we fall. And as long as there is disparity in access to health care and education and housing, we are not free. So we will work with you. We must work together. And working together, hopefully it won't take another 19 years. Yeah. But we can come back to this great place and say, well done. Yeah. Our job is done. We have moved this country to where it should be. And so with that, I am very honored to read on behalf of the Governor of the Commonwealth a proclamation that reads, whereas today we celebrate the 19th anniversary of the enactment of the historic Americans with Disabilities Act, signed into law on July 26, 1990, this landmark legislation established a clear mandate against discrimination on the basis of disability equal opportunity to achieve the American dream. And whereas we reflect upon the past and look forward to a brighter future, we recognize that our country has made great progress. More than ever before, Americans with disabilities enjoy greater access to technology and economic self-sufficiency. More communities are accessible, more children with disabilities learn alongside their peers, and more employers recognize the capabilities of people with disabilities. And whereas despite those achievements, much work remains to be done. People with disabilities far too often lack the choice to live in communities of their choosing. Their unemployment rate is much higher than those without disabilities. They are much likelier to live in poverty. Healthcare is out of reach for too many, and too many children with disabilities are denied a world-class education. Therefore, I, Stephen L. Beshear, Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, do hereby proclaim July 26th through July 31st as Americans with Disabilities Act Week. This day, July 27th, 2009. Thank you all so much. God bless you. May God bless the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
So much. Great. Thanks. Thank you. Well, that's wonderful. Let's give a hand to Governor Beshear and Mr. Elridge. Celebrate. Okay, we have one more reading, and Desh Collier is going to read something that was presented by President Obama.
The United States International Council on Disabilities, USICD, representing a broad constituency of Americans with disabilities and disability organizations, praises Monday's announcement of President Barack Obama's intention to sign the International Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Friday, July 24, 2009, at the White House. President Obama committed to sign the convention during his campaign, and we applaud his leadership. This treaty is good for America, good for people with disabilities, and good for the world, says Marka Bristow, President of USICD. By signing this treaty, the U.S. is reaffirming its commitment to basic human rights of all people with disabilities and positioning us better our expertise on the global level. The President's signature indicates the country's interest in joining this treaty and begins a process in which the Senate will review and provide advice and consent for ratification. It is fitting for President Obama to sign the CRPD this week in commemoration of the 19th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, says former Representative Tony Coelho, co-author of the ADA and USICD board member. When we passed the ADA, we did not imagine the impact it would have around the world by inspiring our international treaty. The drafting process was notable for the inclusion of people with disabilities on official delegations and as participants in advocacy groups